Yes, good evening everyone. So this is the first session of editorial discussion course that we have at Lukmaan IAS. Okay, so first of all, we'll talk in general about the importance of editorial, we can say, or in general current affairs for your mains examination, prelims examination. And then we'll start with today's topics. You all have received the booklets also for today's topics. And the major reform that we have done, earlier we used to have daily lectures. Now again we are going back for weekly lectures. The 5 to 6 important topics we'll discuss. And the other important reform that we have is now the EDs will not be that much bulky. Okay. Earlier it used to be like 10 pages, 12 pages per one topic. Now we are restricting it to 3 to 4 pages, at max 5 pages. If the topic is demanding certain, let's say past developments and all, we'll provide it as additional information. ठीक है, इससे क्या होगा कि आपको पढ़ने के लिए आसानी होगा, रिवीजन के लिए आसानी होगा. It will be helpful for revision. So we are all aware about the importance of current affairs. First of all, I will talk from mains perspective because you know about the prelims largely. So we have 4 papers, general studies paper and the optional paper and essay paper. And I will tell you how to utilize these EDs also in this. So in 4 papers, if you talk about GS1 paper, GS2, GS3 and GS4, and we know the syllabus. You tell me how it is relevant in GS1. History, geography, society. In general, if you talk about history, is history, no current aspect. Largely we can take cue from like certain developments in art and culture. Otherwise it is largely static. Okay. Second is we can say society. Now, society part, they will not ask directly any current development. Rather, we can say that it is the contemporary developments and issues that the society is facing. Contemporary. It is part of current, or we can say that overall recent developments. Okay. And that's why in society somehow, like for example, impact of globalization on children or old age people, or we can say that impact of digitalization or digital revolution on the children and their socialization. ऐसे क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं, right? Such kind of questions they are asking in mains examination from society perspective. So these developments are covered in current affairs, be it monthly magazines, and we will also try to cover in ED lectures such developments. Okay, so society part is there, and we will say that it is largely contemporary. Then there is geography, major weightage 100 marks out of 250. Now within geography there are certain syllabus topics which are largely static. Just a physical geography is there. Okay, even distribution of resources, largely it is static unless and until they are asking certain things like critical minerals. Now that is, we can say that current or contemporary development. We are expecting question on critical minerals. It is basically resource. Okay, or if they ask question related to let's say renewed focus on renewable energy, it is an energy resource, and it is now in last 10 years it has been given more emphasis by the government, so it is in news continuously. Several let's say steps are being taken, so that's why we can say that part. But the most important part from the current development is natural hazards, and we can say changes in the critical geographical features. So natural hazards, largely it is the current development, and changes in the critical geographical features, like they will ask climate change or global warming and its impact. So that is contemporary topic. So within geography, we can say that largely current affairs is natural hazards, different basically geophysical phenomenon. Natural hazards से explicitly mention नहीं किया है. different geophysical phenomenon. They have mentioned earthquakes, cyclones, tsunamis, volcanism. So geophysical phenomenon, we can categorize that as natural hazards. And second is, we can say that global warming or climate change, a contemporary phenomenon, we can say, from geography. So some part of geography, we can link that to current and contemporary development in GS1. But overall GS1 is static. We can say that. Now, GS2 paper. So most of the current weightage is in GS2 and GS3 paper. Okay. And you can see that in last 2 years, they have somehow, let's say, used the liberal marking system in GS2. I haven't found the student who has got less than 100 marks in GS2 paper yet. इस साल का मेंस का जो है, so liberal marking हो रहा है. Somehow, यूपीएससी का होता है, कोई एक पेपर पकड़ता है यूपीएससी जिसमें कम मार्क्स देता है. जैसे पिछले 2-3 साल से बेसिकली इट इज GS3 पेपर. Can you imagine? Most of the students are well prepared for GS3 because largely it is the current developments and you have all the notes, the data and facts, but they are not giving marks in GS3 paper. Right? So in GS2 there are 2 sections, largely it is polity and your IR. Now within polity also it is the constitution, then the governance and social justice. Now you can see that most of the governance and social justice part is, we can say, current development, current or contemporary. What they will talk about in governance, they will talk about the self-help groups, or we can say that the let's say other aspects like cooperative federalism. It is related to governance. So they will ask about all these things. Yes, good evening online students. So what we have to understand from this is governance and social justice. It is current and contemporary development. Social justice, any particular government schemes and program, it may be in news, right? Yes. See, when I say current, it is largely last 1 year. But when I say contemporary, it can be 2 years, 5 years or 10 years. When I say contemporary, 2 years, 5 years or 10 years also. And NDA rule is now contemporary rule. 2014 से 2024. Government, last 2 governments, 2014, 2014 onwards, it is now contemporary. We can say most of the policies are continued, no. Most of the government schemes, flagship schemes, they are continued. PM Ujjwala scheme, continued. Or let's say whatever the other schemes are there, no, be it related to housing scheme is there. Now they are thinking of changing basically Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana and all these things. But that continued for last 10 years. So they will ask in social justice or the policy and its principles, or we can say theme, that has been somehow constant. So we will call it as contemporary. So they can ask about this thing. Okay. Now in GS2 paper, from the constitution and related aspects, so they will ask only 3 or 4 questions at max from the static part, like separation of powers or the powers of attorney general, purely static, right? But other topics you can cover from your current topics, right? Now international relations, 50 marks, 2 10 markers, 2 15 markers. All 4 questions are coming from current developments or contemporary. See, current, when I say current, IR is not current. I never say IR is current, it is contemporary, no, because it is evolving continuously. So like Indian foreign policy is continuously evolving. If you see the evolution since independence, then Nehru era, then Indira Gandhi era, then the Gujral era, so coalition politics wala, and then thereafter now the recent one, 2014 onwards. So these are some, we can say, phases in India's foreign policy. Likewise, we have to prepare also international relations. And you can see that India's relations with other countries are also continuously changing with the changed dynamics. It is evolving, no, we need to know background of that relation. Like India and neighborhood. So our relations with China, continuously ups and downs. Our relations with Sri Lanka, ups and downs. Our relations with Pakistan, down and down. Okay, so this is the situation, right? And you should be ready with current developments. So updated from past to recent developments. You need to be updated while writing answers to IR. So here comes the role of current affairs. So most of the important IR developments we will try to cover here. Okay, so maximum weightage you can see here in GS2 paper. Then GS3, 5 subjects: economy, science and tech, environment, internal security, disaster management. Now in all these subjects, current affairs. Let me give you an example of disaster management. Last year, mains was in September and they asked the question on dam failure. Just 10 to 15 days ago, there was a dam failure in Libya. And 2 months ago, there was a dam failure in Ukraine. I'm telling you the importance, how it is important. So you need to prepare, and they specifically ask, give recent 2 examples of dam failure. Specifically they are asking now. So that means you need to mention. Okay, so I am also telling nowadays students, see, whatever the natural hazards and disasters that are happening in India and around the world, major one. So you have a knack of, or we can say have a tab on all last 1 year developments. To write in, even if it is not asked, we will write it an answer. That will enrich our answers. Environment, only one question is from static portion. Somehow that is they are asking carbon cycle or like simple question they will ask. But other 2-3 questions, they are from current developments, climate change, global warming, or let's say solar energy, renewable energy they are asking. Okay, so these questions will be current. Most of the economy is current development, 100 marks, right? Even if it is not current development, we will put all the current developments, data, updated data, examples, government schemes and programs, initiatives, policies. We will ourselves mention the current affairs, even if it is not asked. Getting this? So GS3 paper, most of it can be prepared from your current developments. Okay. Now GS4 paper. Now this is very unique, and you may be knowing that we have come up with the Ethics Perspective magazine from last month onwards. Every month there will be a magazine, and this is current affairs based magazine. Okay. So even if let's say we are not covering so many topics extensively in ED, there are limitations to ED because we have to cover these 2 properly, because there will not be direct question here in current development. No direct question as such. Okay, but we have to apply that in GS4. So whatever the important social issues are there, let's say child marriage. Okay, so issue of child marriage, many times it will be in news. Issue of, let's say, same-sex marriage. We are expecting question actually in ethics paper. There was judgment also, no? Right. We are expecting question on like, let's say they have linked this climate change with the human right now, recently. Right. And this is linked to your ethics. Okay. So we have to ourselves think and note down how these developments can be used in GS4 paper. Getting this? Now, the next paper is your essay paper. It is a relief that this year they have asked in section 2 general studies type of, let's say, topics. Because the last 2 years we have seen all the philosophical topics, all 8. And it was difficult for students. Most of the students, they tend to write essay paper based on the knowledge of these 4. Whatever they have learned, they know simple one structure: social, economic, political, geographical, historical, cultural, and they will write the essay. Okay, and then they will international, national, regional, local. Essay ho gaya. Right? But such kind of structure is not feasible in philosophical essay, no. But now they have introduced the general studies type of topics, and for that it is very important that you should have a data bank. There are 2 ways to maintain the data bank. You can have separate notebook data bank, GS 1, 2, 3, 4. You can divide that book into GS 1, 2, 3, 4. Or whatever the short notes you are making for your GS 1, 2, 3, 4, try to add these facts there and there itself in those notes. 2 methods. Now the first method is more beneficial for essay. At one place itself, you are having all the facts and examples. Okay. So, of course, many times, let's say, writing examples and data references is very important in essay. Second important aspect is, for essay, you can write certain cases or case studies, we can say. Certain developments, recent developments. If, let's say, there is a, again, same topic, I would say child marriage. And let's say there is a striking story on first page of the Hindu newspaper regarding any particular child marriage happening in remote corner of Madhya Pradesh. And they will, narrate that story. Or there is, on Saturday, ground zero page in the Hindu. They will go in much detail of that issue. Social issues are also covered. Ground zero. From that, you extract the essence and try to make your impactful introduction for any particular essay. 150 words. There can be a good story, narration of any particular story. Getting this? तो इस तरीके से आप वो cases को study करो और proper जो अब तक at least try to link to your PYQs, no essay topics, past year essay topics. Somehow they will repeat it. Okay, they will ask male, female, boys and girls जो इस बार आया था. They will ask about women empowerment. They will ask about environment. They will ask about economic issues. So you will use broadly same story somewhere in any one topic. Try to identify such stories in essay. So this is how we can link. And of course, all this data of general studies can be linked to your optional also. Data and examples, right? Of course, you have your own strategy of optional, how to integrate current affairs. Different optionals are there, but especially paper 2 of every optional, it is related to like Indian geography. If I'm teaching geography, so Indian geography, most of it is current development. Public administration, paper 2, Indian polity. PSIR, paper 2. So sociology, Indian society, paper 2. So try to take inputs from current developments in second paper. Getting this? Now, see, for prelims, we are going to have, let's say, अभी तो आप mains की तैयारी कर रहे होगे, I presume. Those who are writing mains this time, or those who are going to write mains next time. Both of you are focusing largely mains. So prelims, we have already talked about this in different sessions, current affairs and its importance. But let me highlight some things from prelims 2024 itself. The syllabus topic in prelims is the current developments of national and international importance. This is the syllabus topic. Clearly mentioning national and international importance. Any regional and local issue, we can skip it. Okay. Now, within that also, if you see the trend of last 4-5 years, they are constantly asking 1 or 2 questions related to international organizations in climate change, environment protection, or something like that. Initiatives or organizations or something like that. 2 questions now they have this trend of asking places in news. Last 3 years continuously they are asking this question. Match the following type of question. Region in news, why? Reasons. Okay, so these are some constant trends. But the remaining question, they are unpredictable. Sometimes they are asking awards, sometimes they are asking sports, sometimes they are asking authors this year, or let's say brigadier GK type question, right? So it's not part of our syllabus, no, as such. So we'll call it current affairs. 10 to 12. Purely current affairs based. 10 questions will be there. And other questions can be also linked to your current developments. If the speaker, office of speaker is continuously in news, then they will ask question on speaker of basics. No. Rather, we can ourselves take some cue from this. If suppose, let's say, now leader of opposition was appointed, पिछले साल नहीं था. So we can expect question, leader of opposition, basics. So when we are reading current developments, we should take cue from it. Like, इसका मुझे static revise करना है ना? So this is how we should, then somehow they will ask one statement from current development and one statement static part. So partly it is current development, right? So in this manner we have to understand. For prelims it is current developments of national and international importance. In future we will talk about prelims separately. So largely मुझे ये अभी mains से focus करना था. Now how to take inputs from your ED, editorial discussion. So there will be a class, there will be a study material, there will be a test, ED based test, 4 questions every week. Okay, that will be evaluated, and yes, model answer will not be given, but that will be evaluated. You can ask for mentoring also. And these questions will be based on those 5-6 topics that is taught in the classroom. Now, how to take inputs? I said that we have already concised into 3 to 4 or 5 pages, but that is also very bulky for you. So I tell students, for mains perspective, we should make notes. You were there last year. So in first session, I tell this thing, student. For mains perspective, you should make 1-page note of each and every topic we are teaching. Okay, when to make such note? After going through all these 3. Okay, so you are already reading newspaper, then you are taking the class, reading the study material, then giving the test, then make 1-page note of it. And that 1-page note, जैसे हम A4 size का आपका page. Okay, so topic name, context, 1 line, 1 or 2 line. If there is, let's say, important development, so 2-3 lines about the development, major highlights. Then thereafter, generally I tell students the common pro forma that we follow in answers. That is, we can say the benefits, positives, then negatives, limitations, challenges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Write in a priority manner. Okay, most important point should be written first. Only keywords, right? Only keywords. I am going to show you first topic how I have made 1-page note. Okay. Then thereafter, you should write a way forward. In way forward, you should be able to mention certain committee recommendations, commission recommendations, expert panel, or let's say any international example, successful example, case study is there. And here you should be able to make a box and write relevant facts and data. Relevant facts and data. This is your 1-page note. Now, whatever that can be asked from that topic, we should be able to write 150 words. Getting this? And in that 1-page note, there should not be, let's say, point more than 1 line. Okay, so only keywords, because we will be able to elaborate that in the examination if you remember the keywords. Now, importance of having 1-page note is that we can revise it 100 times. Okay, have you visited any mains center? Have you given mains? If you visit the mains examination center, each and every aspirant has their own handwritten notes, small notes. They are revising just before the examination. And if you ask for those notes from any candidate, you will not understand what he has written. Only that candidate understands what he has written and how he is going to use that. Okay, so if you find such toppers notes in the market, they are not going to be that much useful. Short notes, elaborative notes, it's fine. Okay, so such short notes are helpful just before the examination, especially in between those 2 hours. दो पेपर के बीच में 2 घंटे होते हैं ना, those 2 hours, that is going to be very helpful. Okay, fine. I was talking about how to take inputs. So when we make this 1-page note, So you will get the inputs from this study material, class, and let's say many other things. Whatever you have read from the current developments, newspaper, वो भी इसमें add कर दो. This ED is basically, it is going to give you information. It is going to build your understanding. ठीक है, इंफॉर्मेशन में आपको अच्छा डेटा, फैक्ट्स मिलेंगे, एग्जाम्पल्स मिलेंगे, अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ टॉपिक इन डेप्थ. Then it will help you to have perspective, opinion building and perspective. It is going to helpful. It will help in your personality test. Opinion and perspective building. Like in the end, the faculty will tell you that, let's say, whether MSP should be legalized or not. The question mark. What stand we need to take? Whether ASPAR should be repealed or not from the Northeast. What stand needs to be taken in the end? So that stand and why we are taking that stand, we have to justify that properly. That we will provide you in these classes. Then answer writing practice based on current affairs. Answer writing practice. Okay. So all these facts, even the international examples, case studies, successful examples, we will try to add in our booklets. So that is going to help you to have this comprehensive one-page note. Fine. Any question from your side? आपका strategy क्या रहा है अब तक? कैसे तैयारी कर रहे हो मेंस का? You can tell me, you can share with me. Online students, you can ask questions. We will try. We will upload this PDF today on this YouTube video in description of this video. Okay, Shiva? हाँ. ऐसे ही तैयारी किया है? बुक है आपका? हाँ. What about you? नहीं किया है करंट का. Okay. What about you? Okay. So you need to now start with this. Okay, have this practice for 1 year and your current affairs will be built very strong. Okay, now let's start with today's session then. So first topic, see, I will tell as it is online session, live session also, the 5 topics we are going to discuss. Understanding the link between anticyclones, heat domes and heat waves. First topic. Second topic is a lesson from Taiwan in earthquake resilience. So there was earthquake in Taiwan and very less damage happened despite of 7.2 magnitude earthquake in Taiwan, and what lessons we can learn from them. It is very important. We can expect such direct question in your mains examination, disaster management. Okay. Third topic is related to your Great Nicobar Island project, infrastructure project that is going to be implemented from environment perspective. ठीक है, GS3 paper. Then the fourth topic is the building fires in India due to extreme heat. So in last 1 or 2 months during summer, we have seen several fire incidences in urban cities, including Delhi, right, due to extreme heat events. So we are expecting this means only such kind of question. Okay, specific question, disaster management. And lastly, the very unique topic we have added is effects of climate change on mental health. We are expecting this in society part. ठीक है, GS1 पेपर सोसाइटी में भी पूछ सकते हैं और GS3 पेपर साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी एंड एनवायरमेंट ओवरलैपिंग पार्ट. यस यस यस, मैं टॉपिक लिखता हूं तो सामने मैं लिखता हूं सिलेबस टॉपिक. ओके, so these 5 topics we will discuss. Now first topic, the link between anticyclones, heat domes and heat waves. So It relates to your GS1 and GS3. GS1 geography part, GS3 paper disaster management. So in analysis of different papers, I tell that you have to prepare these two sections together, natural hazards in GS1 and disaster management. Why? Because last year they asked cloud burst, explain the cloud burst mechanism in GS3 paper, disaster management. And in the same year they asked color coded system in GS1 paper, color coded system of cyclone management, which is disaster management. So that's why. Now, anticyclones, heat domes and heat waves. First of all, the context. So why it was in news? There has been several instances of heat waves in India, especially northern part of India, northwestern part of India, and outside India, USA, European countries in last 1 year. Last 1 year, El Nino year was there. And this summer, there were several incidences in US and India regarding this. So, बहुत बार news में पढ़ा होगा आपने, right? Because of anticyclone formation, heat waves are happening. So, let's try to understand. But I will give the context of incident happened in April 2024, where we had severe heat wave in Mumbai, and simultaneously there was a flooding, excess rain and flooding in Dubai. Do you remember? बहुत सारे सोशल मीडिया पे वीडियोस भी वायरल हुए थे. This incident happened simultaneously, but there is a connection between these two, and there was formation of anticyclone and heat dome that resulted into this two. Okay, let's try to understand that also. But this is the striking context we can give in the introduction itself. Okay, now let's understand the link. But first understand the concepts. Geography hai, so let's understand the concepts. Let's understand the meaning of the three terms. Okay, what is anticyclone? The basic part of geography, cyclone and anticyclone. So what is cyclone? It is the low pressure system. At the center there is excess low, we can say pressure, and the wind there is basically moving towards that low pressure from the surrounding, and the winds are gushing towards the low pressure. ऐसा होता है. And because of Coriolis force, the movement of wind will be anti-clockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. I am talking about cyclone. And we know exactly opposite of it is called anticyclone. In anticyclone, at the center, there will be high pressure. So at center, there is high pressure. And the wind from this high pressure will try to move outward. And depending on the Coriolis force, in northern hemisphere now, exactly opposite, there will be clockwise movement. And in southern hemisphere, there will be anti-clockwise. The wind movement around the high pressure. Is this clear? Now, here when we talk about this link, the anticyclones that are formed not near the ground, but in upper atmosphere. Here we are talking about anticyclones formed not near the ground. They are formed in upper, we can say that upper troposphere. High pressure system formed in upper troposphere. Now I told you, let's take example of, this is the place in northern hemisphere, and this is upper troposphere, this is the lower or near the ground. Now if suppose there is a high pressure here, the wind surrounding that high pressure will move like this. एंटी क्लॉकवाइज। ऊपर से देखोगे तो ये ऐसे दिखेगा, एंटी क्लॉकवाइज, राइट। नाउ दिस एंटी क्लॉकवाइज मूवमेंट बेसिकली allows the wind to move down in spiral manner. Remember the movement of wind in the cyclone in upward manner. Exactly opposite, it will try to pressurize the upward movement of wind towards down. जो ऊपर आ रहा है ना wind, उसको क्या बोलेगा, नीचे ही रहो. Getting this? So in upper atmosphere, when such anticyclone is formed, the wind will try to move down and subside down. So it will try to pressurize the wind near the ground. It will compress that air near the ground. And when the wind, which is dry and warm, when it is compressed, it will adiabatically release the heat into nearby system. And this is how the lower air will warm up. Excess warming हो जाता है. Understood? Anticyclone form in upper troposphere. Now, because of compression, okay, the air near the ground is basically compressed. When the air near the ground is compressed, it gets warm. When the air is rarefied, it cools down. Simple phenomenon. When the air moves up, it rarefies and it loses heat. तो वो क्या होता है, कूल डाउन हो जाती है एयर, ठीक है. बट ये जब नीचे आता है तो ये क्या कर रहा है, उसको कॉम्प्रेस कर रहा है. तो दैट्स व्हाई द एयर नियर द ग्राउंड इज वार्मिंग एक्सेसिवली. नाउ इफ सपोज द ज्योग्राफिकल कंडीशंस लाइक दिस persist over the long period of time and a particular region experiences such situation where a lid like structure is formed. Lid पता है ना, जो हम सब्जी बनाते हैं उसके ऊपर का कंटेनर होता है ना, सब्जी बनाते हैं ना कंटेनर, उसके ऊपर होता है ना लिड. उस तरीके का एक स्ट्रक्चर तैयार होता है समझो विंड का. Now why this is formed? Let's try to understand. Here, when the ground is excessively heated, the wind will try to move up like this. Wind will try to move up like this. यहां से ऊपर जा रहा है, ऊपर जा रहा है, ऊपर जा रहा है. And it will basically form the high pressure that is here. ठीक है, तो ये क्या कर रहा है, विंड ऊपर जाने के बाद यहाँ पे हाई प्रेशर बना रहा है. बट नाउ यू कैन सी एक डायग्राम है उसमें, अब ओपन करिए, वो क्या है, लेट मी शो दैट हियर. लुक एट दिस. यस, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल द ड्राई हॉट एयर राइजेस इनटू द एटमॉस्फेयर. देखिए ये क्या है, ड्राई हॉट एयर राइजेस इनटू द atmosphere like this. Now there is high pressure circulation. I will tell you this high pressure कैसे jet stream की वजह से बनता है वो भी मैं बताता हूं. In upper atmosphere there is jet stream, no, the location of that jet stream is influencing the location of high pressure. I will tell you, ठीक है, वो explain करता हूं मैं आपको कैसे होता है. Just understand कि यहां पर high pressure बना है upper troposphere. This warm wind is moving up and like this from both sides. High pressure conditions push the rising warm air down. कहां पर, ये जो हाई प्रेशर क्रिएट हुआ है ये इसको नीचे पुश कर रहा है. The third is within the dome the air sinks and is compressed at surface creating heat waves. कहां पर, इस सरफेस पे compress कर. Now why we are calling it as dome? Because it is not allowing the surrounding wind to enter into that dome, that area, and this makes ideal condition for heat wave because the weather is persistent for 7 to 10 days. Same weather conditions, persistent for 7 to 10 days, 1 week. आइडियली 2-3 दिन तक गर्मी होके उसके बाद थोड़ा ठंडा हो जाना चाहिए, बिकॉज द हीट विल बी डिसिपेटिंग. pressure conditions will change and the wind will basically move horizontally. It will try to bring in more moisture or it will cool down, replace कर देगा उसको. It does not allow the surrounding wind to enter into it. This is the problem with heat dome. So first we learn about anticyclone formation, heat dome, and the result of these two is severe heat waves near the ground. Near the ground, the link I am telling you. Now, this is completely innovative. You will not find this topic in any booklet कहीं पे भी. ठीक है? I have myself basically thought about this. We can expect question in GS1 or GS3. I was telling you about how anticyclones are formed. You know the concept of jet stream. What are jet streams? Jet streams are high speed winds moving in a narrow channel in upper atmosphere, near troposphere we can say, upper troposphere part, right? Jet stream, geography में पढ़ा है ना आपने? Have you learned about now? Yes, subtropical jet stream, where it is located? Between 20 to 30 or 30 to 40. During summer it will shift northern. During winter it will shift towards 20 degree north. Now imagine during let's say what we can say summer, this subtropical jet stream is there in North Indian plains or near Himalayan region. In that region, northwest India, होता है ना यहाँ पर भी. So now look at the position. They are moving from west to east. Okay, continuously moving. Now look at this situation and this situation. Pay attention here. When the jet stream is moving like this, here the wind from this jet stream will not allow the wind from surface to move up. Why? Because the circulation is like this. What is this circulation? Clockwise circulation. What is this circulation? Clockwise circulation. So at the center of this location, there will be automatically formation of high pressure. When the jet stream is located like this position can change over the period of time. After some days, the jet stream position can be like this over the same area. And this will change the position of high pressure and low pressure. This is very important in onset of monsoon. Geography में पढ़ा था monsoon जब पढ़ा था. Why there is a burst of monsoon in India? It is linked to location of this jet stream over Peshawar region. Okay, so I will explain that part also briefly. But have you understood this? Movement of wind in the upper atmosphere is clockwise. At the center there will be high pressure created and it will not allow the wind from surface to move up, because now the wind will be subsiding down in a spiral manner below this high pressure. Look at this position. The wind is moving like this and there is a tendency of wind to move like this. Tendency. What is this? Anti-clockwise. When there is low pressure in upper atmosphere, it will try to suck out the wind from bottom, that is from surface, and that wind will try to move out. A funnel effect created. ऐसे बाहर निकल जाएगा wind, ऐसे घूम रहा ऐसे निकल जाएगा बाहर, and that's why low pressure. But here नीचे ऐसे. So jet stream plays the major role in location of this upper atmospheric high pressure, that is your anticyclone formation. So we do not experience that anticyclone where in tropical we can say near equator or 10-20 degree नीचे की तरफ, वहां नहीं होता है anticyclone generally. Because jet stream is not. Yes, of course. Location of jet stream is very important. Okay, then लेट्स ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड. मैं ब्रीफली बता भी देता हूं वो, जैसे मॉनसून वाला जो चीज है, as it is linked to anticyclone or basically this concept. What happens near the Peshawar region during the month of May? There is low pressure near the ground, excess heating, low pressure. The wind will try to move up. Okay. And that upward movement will create some kind of, we can say, space for the wind from surrounding. The wind should be gushing in from the nearby ocean. ऐसा होना चाहिए ना. तो मॉनसून मई में ही आना चाहिए, बिकॉज लैंड इज ऑलरेडी हीटेड टू मच, बट वी डोंट हैव ऑनसेट ऑफ मॉनसून इन मई. The major reason is this one. What is that? The location of jet stream above that Peshawar region is like this. Okay, I will tell you कैसे दिखता है वो. The location is like this, and this is bifurcated because of Tibetan Plateau. Southern branch, northern branch of this subtropical jet stream. Right? Now this high pressure created or anticyclone created there in the upper atmosphere will not allow the air from the ground to move up. It will create a spreading effect. कि तुम नीचे ही रहे. If the wind is not moving up, it is staying near the ground, how it will allow the surrounding wind to fill up that low pressure? It will not allow. And that's why there is no onset of southwest monsoon. Southwest wind, trade winds are not allowed to come near the ground. Now, what happens in first week of June? This position is changed like this. Why? Because southerly branch is shifted to north. This is Tibetan Plateau now, and this is the position now. This is the position. What is this position? This is low pressure or cyclone, we can say. Simply, this position now will suck in the wind from the ground, and it will create space for this southwest winds, trade winds. Basically, onset of monsoon phenomenon is this one. The burst of monsoon or onset of monsoon in first week of June. In Myanmar, we have onset of monsoon in May itself. You know this. They can ask question like this. Onset of monsoon in Myanmar or southeastern states, Southeast Asian nations, it is in May itself. Because this effect of jet stream is not visible there in Myanmar or Southeast Asian. That's why India's monsoon is unique. ठीक है. Now you have understood the link also. Basics of heat waves you all know. Right. IMD declares heat waves. The criteria is mentioned on the first page. You can see heat waves के यहाँ पर for second page top. IMD declares heat wave if the maximum temperature of station reaches at least 40 degrees or more for plains, 30 degrees or more for hilly region, 37 degrees in coastal areas. Right. And that can be like severe heat wave जहां पर जो है 6.4 degree Celsius more than normal or average of that place. So deviation from normal is also a major criteria to declare heat wave. Now, other parts we have mentioned in the booklet, like impact of let's say acute heat waves and all these things way forward as a part of disaster management. So impact, we are aware about that. Heat wave is the result, right? But the phenomenon is basically anticyclone and heat dome. That is basically accentuating what you can say the level of heat wave. Now, impact, human health. Right. So, human health, there will be dehydration, There can be heat strokes, right? Then there can be, we can say, cascading illness, heat exhaustion, hyperthermia. You can use such terms, especially vulnerable sections like children, old age people, right? Then there can be water scarcity, excess heat, evaporation, water scarcity can be there. Then agricultural losses because of heat reduces the agricultural yield. Heat waves or excess temperatures in northwest India in 2022-23 that resulted into lower yield of wheat in Punjab and Haryana compared to last year. Why? Excess temperatures in February and March months. जब वो हार्वेस्ट टाइम होता है वहां पे एक्सेस टेम्परेचर थे उस टाइम पे, so there was crop loss. Getting this? Then energy crisis, frequent we can say blackouts, very common nowadays in Delhi. यहाँ पे तो कितनी बार लाइट गई है पिछले 1 महीने में, क्लास के बीच में लाइट जाता था, right? So energy crisis, why? Because excess demand, especially for cooling, AC, refrigerator and all these things are there, and energy crisis can be there. उतना production नहीं होता है, so it can let's say it can be demanding for, let's say, power production. Reduced labor productivity, हम तो ठीक है AC में बैठ के पढ़ रहे हैं, काम कर रहे हैं, but what about the labor working in industries? It will reduce their productivity. Overall there will be reduction in economic productivity, economic growth. Human is a resource, of course, उसकी productivity कम होना मतलब overall economic growth में effect करेगा. Then environmental threats like forest fires, very common in western part of USA, California, dry region, where we every year expect have such kind of heat waves. वहां पे ही ये jet streams and heat domes तैयार होते हैं most of the time. Okay, and nowadays this effect is moving towards eastern coast of USA also. Generally, heat domes and anticyclones observed in southern and western coast, southern part and western coast of USA. But nowadays it is observed that it is expanding towards eastern coast of USA or northeastern part of USA also, because of changes that are happening in the movement of jet streams. Okay, तो कुछ नहीं, लिंक कहां पे करना है? Climate change ultimately, right? So forest fires you can mention, then you can mention about a loss of soil moisture, ठीक है, ये सारी चीज है इम्पैक्ट में. देन वे फॉरवर्ड, इसी को देख माइंड में रखो और वे फॉरवर्ड लिखो. So to deal with first one, human health, what should be done? Heat waves पे there should be continuous, you need to keep continuous hydrated. There should be shelter homes, drinking water availability ensured by the government. Then health advisories होता है ना, गवर्नमेंट, लोकल गवर्नमेंट भी देता है हेल्थ एडवाइजरीज, ये दिन में बाहर मत निकलो, ये सब चीजें एडवाइजरीज देते हैं, ठीक है, हीट स्ट्रोक होने की वजह से हो सकता है. देन वी कैन टॉक अबाउट वाटर स्कैरसिटी, सो हियर आल्सो वी कैन टॉक अबाउट वाटर मैनेजमेंट. सो मिनिमाइज wasteful use of water, reuse, recycle, energy crisis, focus on रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी प्रोडक्शन, इसमें एक ये भी होता है डिमांड मैनेजमेंट। डिमांड मैनेजमेंट like what we have during daytime, urban areas, residential areas, there is, we can say, in general there is high demand. Okay, so it is generally advised that the industries during this time should be run at night time, production and all. Why? Because the residential areas at night time somehow it, क्योंकि इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटीज कम हो गई ना, रेसिडेंशियल एरियाज की जो भी चीजें होगी वो नाइट टाइम में, सो इंडस्ट्रियल डिमांड जो होता है वो पीक नाइट में होना चाहिए. दिस इज हाउ द डिमांड मैनेजमेंट हैपेंस इन इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, दैट शुड बी मैनेज्ड. देन अदर, ठीक है, बाकी सब तो ठीक है, फॉरेस्ट फायर्स एंड ऑल दिस थिंग्स कैन बी मैनेज्ड. देन the drought tolerant और heat tolerant जो होता है ना, high temperature tolerant varieties should be developed of crops so that reduction in the yield will not happen. Then micro irrigation practices should be there. All these things we can mention, but as a part of, we can say, disaster management or considering heat wave as a disaster, we should be ready with early warning system, forecast. And WMO in one of its project has given very unique, ये भी पूछ सकते हैं डायरेक्टली आपको, क्या है वो? रेडी सेट गो फ्रेमवर्क. They can ask as it is, ready set go framework, disaster management. For it is given by World Climate Research Program under World Meteorological Organization, WMO. What is the meaning of ready set go? Ready means basically we should be ready with the long term forecasting. When there is long term forecasting, the government or disaster management machinery can basically decide about the resources they have. If there are not sufficient resources, then they can mobilize those resources. They have sufficient time. They can plan the things. Now, set, the second part, the medium term forecasting, 2 to 3 weeks before, and that will help to identify the hotspots. Okay, identify the hotspots. Where can be the heat wave? Where can be the vulnerable sections? Identifying the hotspot and allocating the resources. For them. And then go. That means now implement it. So 1 week before or 1 or 2 days before, so whatever the resources allocated, now the machinery should be mobilized. So it is good thing, no? हम वे फॉरवर्ड में लिखेंगे इसको खुद से, राइट? हाँ, इन जनरल ऑल्सो वी कैन यूज दिस wherever there is early warning system is required. Wherever there is early warning system is required, है ना? Right. Then there is a need of recognizing this as a disaster. Till the date, this is only considered as regional local hazard. It is not considered as national hazard or national disaster or something like that yet. Why? Because see, this is actually annual phenomenon in northern India or northwestern India. Okay, and other parts of the country, they are not as such let's say affected. So that's why national level पे हम उसको disaster मानते नहीं हैं. We are not giving that tag, but we need to give that tag. Why? Because many of the urban areas, even in tropical let's say areas of India, like Chennai is there, Mumbai is, they are facing heat waves. Okay, so they need to have certain plan, they need to allocate certain resources, funds for this purpose. So recognizing this as a national hazard, national level पे, then there is need of heat wave action plan, HAP, which should be tailor made, decentralized, tailor made, decentralized, flexible. Like we have in Chennai. Chennai city has its own heat wave action plan prepared by its municipal corporation, local government. Now this is helpful. Okay, all cities needs, at least metropolis, they need to have this, right? So that will help to efficiently allocate the resources, plan, allocate the resources and implement it. जब आपके पास प्लान है पहले से ही, तो उसके जैसे हमारे यहाँ पर क्या है, ग्रेडेड रिस्पॉन्स एक्शन प्लान, GRAP, हर साल पोल्यूशन होता है नवंबर मंथ में. So we have GRAP for Delhi and NCR region. There is a plan. वैसे ही हर सिटी का एक अपना अपना हीट वेव एक्शन प्लान होना चाहिए, right? Then other things are very common. You can mention about IEC campaign, awareness generation, sensitization, and let's say nature-driven solution. You can mention cooling. Building designs should be like such that the material should be selected which does not excessively heat building material. The aesthetics, there should be adequate ventilation in the building. The other aspects related to what we can say heat wave related accidents, fire accidents आप बोल सकते हैं. तो when the building is designed in such manner, there will be less requirement of cooling. ठीक है, तो इसका लोड कम हो जाएगा. वैसे यहाँ पे 4 लगाने की जरूरत नहीं थी, एक्सेस है ये. ठीक है, but I am telling you that if the building design is such manner, तो less requirement of cooling, let's say power demand and all. Now, further you can also mention about let's say what you can say. ठीक है, हीट रेजिस्टेंट कंस्ट्रक्शन एंड ऑल दिस थिंग्स आर देयर. यही कॉमन चीजें आपको लिखनी है हीट वेव में. एंड वी कैन एक्सपेक्ट क्वेश्चन इन GS3 पेपर हीट वेव्स. ये एक पेंडिंग क्वेश्चन है डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट में. दे हैव नॉट आस्क्ड येट. ओके, नाउ एनी क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम योर साइड?
Heat wave, suppose if it's taking place in Mumbai or anywhere, so the reason is like the jet stream.
हाँ, I was going to explain that. I missed it. So basically there was anticyclone formation and heat dome formation. See, there was heat dome formation and on one side the Mumbai got inside in this heat dome. ठीक है, नॉर्थ इंडियन ओशन पे हीट डोम तैयार हुआ था. इन दिस समर there was heat dome form over the North Indian Ocean. Now somehow Mumbai city got inside this heat dome and Dubai was located here, just outside it. Okay, now what happened here is when the wind was moving up here, अब ये हुआ है ओशन के ऊपर तैयार. तो whenever the ये ऊपर लेके जाएगा तो क्या लेके जाएगा? lot of moisture, and that resulted into heavy downpour. Major reason. Other reason that is being talked is that project, cloud seeding project, although it is not openly accepted by the government. हो सकता है वो भी, ठीक है, that may have acted as a catalyst because the wind was or air was having moisture. So cloud seeding will result into condensation, then precipitation, and this region is largely arid region. इतनी बारिश तो कभी हुई नहीं है वहां पे सालों साल. एक दिन में इतनी बारिश हो गई 16 अप्रैल. ठीक है, तो वो मेंशन भी किया हुआ है हमने, इसमें एक्सप्लेन भी किया हुआ है बुकलेट में व्हाट हैड हैपेंड देयर. अंडरस्टूड? सो यहां पर क्या हुआ है मुंबई में? इन मुंबई व्हाट हैपेंड, इट वाज पार्ट ऑफ हीट डोम, the surrounding wind was not entering it. Actually what should happen? Sea and land breeze should actually disperse the heat. what happens in Mumbai, sea and land breeze should disperse the heat. But as a part of heat dome, it was not doing that. Second, as it was part of heat dome, तो यहां पर क्या हो रहा है, ये विंड जो है कॉम्प्रेस होके नीचे आ रहा है. Now as it is moist wind and temperatures were considerably high, there was basically दो तरीके के टेम्परेचर होता है. एक होता है एक्चुअल टेम्परेचर एंड अदर इज परसीव्ड टेम्परेचर, फेल्ट टेम्परेचर. बिकॉज ऑफ हाई ह्यूमिडिटी यू हैव हायर टेम्परेचर, फेल्ट दैट. वैसा मुंबई में 4 से 5 डिग्री ज्यादा लग रहा था उस दिन. इट्स नॉट दैट कि वहां पर टेम्परेचर 40 के ऊपर था, नहीं जाता है 40 के ऊपर मुंबई में, कोस्टल सिटी है. But it was felt like 42, 43 because of high humidity. Understood? तो ये एक्चुअली उसका रीजन था. It was linked to anticyclone only. Same. हाँ, same. It is linked. There was very good article in Down to Earth and video also explaining this link at that time. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट टॉपिक, इफ यू डोंट हैव एनी क्वेश्चन तो दूसरा टॉपिक देखते हैं. चलो, नाउ स्मॉल टॉपिक्स आर देयर बट दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट. डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट, लेसन फ्रॉम ताइवान इन अर्थक्वेक रेजिलियंस. बट बिफोर दैट आई वाज गोइंग टू शो यू a 1-page note that you should prepare. Like this. Topic name, context, thereafter basic concept, one line, and in the same I have explained the link, how anticyclone is linked to heat dome linked to, okay, keywords I have mentioned, keywords. Then heat waves in India, heat waves in US. Now we had to actually, यहाँ पर आपने मैंने जो डायग्राम ड्रॉ किया था हीट डोम का, वैसे ड्रॉ करिए यहाँ पर. ठीक है. And here you mention high pressure, wind is subsiding down, compressing down, and here heat wave, heat dome, like this. हाई प्रेशर इज एंटीसाइक्लोन इन अपर. ये आपका डायग्राम यहाँ पे ड्रॉ करके रखो ऐसे.
Anticyclone will form the, so the reason behind the formation is always jet stream or other condition.
See, when we talk about the permanent conditions that are there in upper atmosphere, these permanent are just above the ground level permanent pressure belts, where we have such conditions. Equatorial low near the ground, so the wind is moving up in the upper atmosphere, there will be high pressure. That is permanent. Getting this? But here if you see the jet stream, तो वहां पर क्या हो रहा है, तो सब ट्रॉपिकल हाई प्रेशर बेल्ट, ठीक है, उसके ऊपर जेट स्ट्रीम होगा, राइट, एंड दैट जेट स्ट्रीम इज बेसिकली influencing the upper atmospheric conditions there. And it is not the permanent high pressure or low pressure. Anticyclone and cyclone is regional, area wise. Getting this? When I say high pressure belt, it is the permanent. And when I say high pressure area, it is the small area. Right? And this can be formed anywhere depending on the conditions. Like what happens when we say Tibetan plateau is severely heated. Tibetan plateau is severely heated, then near the ground there will be low pressure. The wind is moving up, there will be high pressure in the upper atmosphere. And that will start the tropical easterly jet stream there. Tej, TEJ we talk about. Right? तो वो कहां से स्टार्ट हो रहा है? वहां से स्टार्ट हो रहा है, अपर एटमॉस्फेयर से, टिबेटन प्लेटो में. अंडरस्टूड? In general, there is opposite pressure conditions near the ground and upper atmosphere. In general, and that can be There can be exceptions, like I told you about monsoon. नीचे भी लो प्रेशर है, ऊपर भी लो प्रेशर बन रहा है, ठीक है, और तब जाके वो क्या कर रहा है, विंड ऊपर जा रहा है, एंड ऑनसेट ऑफ मॉनसून. But that is dynamic. When jet stream is basically changing these, let's say, conditions, it is dynamic. It is not permanent, right? It is changing over the period of time, and it is regional, area wise. It's not the permanent, or let's say uniform over the particular latitude or something. Okay. Largely this anticyclone is influenced by the movement of jet stream. ऐसे याद रखना है. Heat domes, formation of heat domes and resultant heat waves, they are largely because of anticyclones, and these anticyclones are formed because of, we can say, jet streams, position of jet stream. ठीक है, all right. Now let's talk about what we can say next. Earthquake in Taiwan and lessons that we can learn from it. Context. 7.2 Richter scale earthquake. कब हुआ था ये ताइवान में? 3rd April 2024. April 2024. Immediately you can simply mention that it resulted into death of 13 people and 1000 injuries. Only 13 people died. Can you imagine there is earthquake in India and the number of deaths, destruction to property of this scale or Richter scale? कहीं पे भी नॉर्थ इंडिया में कहीं पे भी समझो अर्थक्वेक होता है स्केल का. सबसे पहले तो ओल्ड राजनगर गिरेगा, है ना, एक्सेप्ट नए बिल्डिंग्स जो बन रही है, ठीक है. So that's why lessons needs to be learned. Taiwan is a very small island nation in South China Sea, right? And why there are frequent earthquakes there in Taiwan? Geography. It is located on Pacific Ring of Fire. Pacific Ring of Fire. So we know that there is a Pacific plate which is largely oceanic, and it is basically submerging under different plates, Eurasian plate, Philippine plate, on that side there is North American plate, South American plate, right? So because of that there is convergence, ocean and continental plate, ocean plates, and there is continuous tectonic activities happening in that region. Okay, tectonic. So earthquakes are common in the convergence zone, plate boundary areas. Earthquakes are common in plate margins, plate boundary areas. So we can say that convergent plate boundary. Right. So immediately we should ask question, why less number of deaths and destruction? So reasons. First and foremost, we can say that building codes, then there is national disaster Prevention and Protection Act enacted by the government, then we can say that use of technology, community awareness, efficient early warning system, ठीक है. So then earthquake monitoring network, efficient early warning system and earthquake monitoring network. So these points are very important and we need to learn from it. ठीक है. All right, let's understand first this one, use of technology, and I will give here the example of tallest building there, Taipei 101. Taipei is capital, right? Taipei 101, this is the building, skyscraper जिसको बोलते हैं. तो वो ये बिल्डिंग में, अब सोचिए इतने बड़ा अर्थक्वेक है, ये बिल्डिंग गिरी नहीं है, कुछ नहीं हुआ इसको. So there is one structure there, balancing structure जिसको हम बोलते हैं. The exact word is, we can say that this dampers. Okay, we have given information about this, specific information about this. A tuned mass damper is there to counter building motion during earthquake. तो ये क्या करता है देखो, let's say ऐसा एक pendulum की तरह. Pendulum, you know, there is a ball, a heavy ball, and it is basically freely hanged at 70th or 80th floor of that building, ऊपर. Let's say there is an earthquake. Now this building is, let's say, tilting here on this side. This ball is going to tilt like this, balance कर देगा वो दूसरे side से. If the building is moving like this, the ball will act as a counterweight. Getting this? And that's why it will not, it will dampen the vibrations, basically. It will dampen the vibrations. This is the use of technology they are doing. Okay, so you can mention this example, and the other things they are actually doing, basically very stringent building code is there. No, let's say, exceptions. बहुत ही stringent होता है building code implement करने के लिए वहां पर, right? So in India also we can utilize this. We have also building code like India's preparedness, we have mentioned there in ED booklet, right? So if we talk about India's preparedness for earthquake, हमें क्या बोला गया बचपन से, अर्थक्वेक आए तो टेबल के नीचे जाके. इसके बियॉन्ड तुम्हें कुछ पता है अर्थक्वेक का, कॉमन लोगों को? डू वी नो अबाउट दिस? एनीथिंग एल्स अबाउट दिस? आज भी मेरे माइंड में यही थॉट आता है, यहाँ पे भी होता है ना ट्रेमर्स, व्हाट वी शुड डू इन सच सिचुएशन, राइट? सो इंडियाज प्रिपेयर्डनेस, वी हैव आल्सो बिल्डिंग कोड 2016. You can mention this building code 2016. Then we have seismic zonation, which is very important. Seismic zones, BIS has created, Bureau of Indian Standard. This code is also given by BIS. Bureau of Indian Standard has created earthquake zones in India. And these zones are zone 2, 3, 4, and 5. I don't know why they have not added 1. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5. Huh? We have this map, we can see on the map. Yes. So zone 2 is having least, we can say, vulnerability. And you can see the color also. Stable peninsular block, largely it is blue color. Less, we can say, vulnerable. Then thereafter, surrounding of this, जब हम draw करेंगे exam में, तो ये चीजें याद रखनी है. Peninsular block is stable one. Then surrounding of it, largely coastal areas. And this one, fault, Vindhyan fault. And this Kutch area, Kathiawad Peninsula, this region. ठीक है. So this is largely, we can say, coming in zone 3. And then some parts of, we can say, foothills of Himalayas. Or North Indian plains, we can say. ठीक है, North Indian plains. Zone 3. Zone 4, then surrounding of it. ठीक है, या नियर बाय इट. यहाँ पे देखिए नॉर्थ में हिमालयन रीजन, ये जो ऊपर का पार्ट है सारा हिली एरिया. एंड हियर कच्छ, भुज एरिया. भुज तो एक्चुअली यहां पे आता है 5 में. ठीक है, हाँ, भुज में अर्थक्वेक हुआ था 2001 में, तो रेड. एंड हियर ऑल्सो यू कैन सी सेवरल एरियाज इन रेड, zone 5. North East, complete zone 5. Complete zone 5, including this one, Andaman and Nicobar. Earthquake prone. Okay, so least area is in zone 5, maximum area is in zone 4, area wise, total area wise territory. So we have made this also, and let's say risk wise also we have identified very high risk zone, moderate risk, and we can say low risk. Now, in addition to these, we have infrastructure and construction practices only on paper, I guess. ठीक है, सिस्मिक रेजिस्टेंट डिजाइन होता है. कभी आप घर लोगे ना, तो जो बिल्डर है ना, ये सब चीजें बताता है. दिल्ली में कभी आप जाओगे ना किसी को बिल्डर को पूछने, बड़ी जो बिल्डर्स होते हैं, सोसाइटी होते, दे विल से देयर इज अर्थक्वेक रेजिस्टेंट डिजाइन, we will use such material and all these things. Okay, they will talk about this. I don't think so they are using this kind of things. Then there is early warning systems and monitoring. So IMD has different, let's say, centers to collect the data, monitor the seismic activities. Then we have public awareness and education, like education school में curriculum में उन्होंने add किया हुआ है. Mock drills are there. So many times हमारे schools में public, let's say, institutions में mock drills होता है earthquake का. Okay, so this is also important to create awareness among the people. Then the government schemes, policies. So there is institutional structure. NDMA is there, state level, SDMA, district level, disaster management authority is there. Legal structure under Disaster Management Act 2005 we have. NDMA guidelines are there for earthquake. So things are there in place, but on paper, not on the ground, I would say. The challenges, the major challenges basically are related to implementation. Challenges किससे related होते हैं? Implementation. So strict implementation of building codes, monitoring. There is no monitoring, government authorities. Challenge. Then lack of sufficient funds. Retrofitting of old building. We are saying that there should be retrofitting. Whether the government is supporting for retrofitting? No. खुद से तो कोई करना नहीं चाहता है. Right. So there is lack of funds. So because of that also. Then there is population density. Certain cities, certain areas densely populated, so that creates one more challenge. Then geological diversity in terms of physical features, plains, plateaus, mountains, and earthquake regions are located at different places. Gujarat में इधर एक, northeast, Himalayas. So, and you should know that even within the peninsular region, we had tremors, earthquakes. 1993, Latur, Maharashtra. More than 10,000 people died. Okay, Maharashtra. So there is Kurduwadi fault there. Kurduwadi fault in Maharashtra. And in Bhuj, we have Alaband fault. Alaband. ज्योग्राफी के आंसर में आप लिख सकते हैं इसको. Alaband fault. So wherever there is fault formation, because huge lithospheric plate is there, no, within that there will be faults. Small, large faults will be there. And wherever there is fault, there will be friction in the rocks, release of energy and earthquakes. Okay. Now, so what should be the way forward here? Way forward? जो challenges है उस पे work करना है. So strict implementation of building codes. See, most important is this one. Revival of traditional designs. Like in Himalayas, Himachal Pradesh, we have a traditional design of building homes. उसका नाम भी डाला है हमने. ठीक है. कातकुनी स्टाइल इन हिमाचल प्रदेश. अर्थक्वेक रेजिस्टेंस. सेकंड पेज पे जब हम अर्थक्वेक प्रिपेयर्डनेस इन इंडिया बात कर रहे हैं उसमें सेकंड पॉइंट जो है इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एंड कंस्ट्रक्शन प्रैक्टिसेस. सो देयर ट्रेडिशनल आर्किटेक्चर मेंशन दिस इन आंसर. काटकुनी स्टाइल इन हिमाचल प्रदेश. सो बेसिकली Himalayan region needs to have the, what you can say, such kind of traditional architecture instead of using cement and all these things. So that is not going to be helpful in such kind of terrain. ठीक है, तो we can mention this in our answer. Then retrofitting of old buildings. Here you can mention that government should come up with certain financial assistance. Retrofitting of old buildings. At least government should do for its own buildings. Then there should be research further. Like we had Joshimath incidents, right? So land subsidence. So human activities, how they are impacting the geological structures, stability in a particular region, especially Himalayas are very fragile. Human activities will make them unstable. That may result into tremors also. ठीक है, so there should be research on impact of human activities on the let's say geological features. ऐसा भी बोलते हैं ना कि let's say excess extraction of groundwater is also resulting into tremors. You know this? The incidence of Palghar in Maharashtra, Western Maharashtra. Thousands of tremors were felt in a month. And there was a study by the experts, and what it found? Excess extraction of groundwater. Such kind of studies have been done in Western countries. आप ग्राउंड वाटर एक्विफर्स खाली करोगे तो वो धसेगी ना जमीन नीचे. Fine. So case study of Japan you can mention. Better practices, best practices जिसको हम बोलते हैं. In Himalayan region, let's say instead of concrete, they should be using local resources. Wood-based design. They should use wood. ठीक है, wooden structures जैसे जापान में यूज होता है. ठीक है, flexible foundation बोलते हैं वहां पे. Flexible foundation होना चाहिए to dampen the vibrations. Small houses के लिए. Japan case study, especially related to houses, sensitization, use of technology. ऐसा बोलते कि वहां पे टेक्नोलॉजी रिलेटेड टू earthquake resilience itself is an industry. Technology development for earthquake resistance or resilience itself is a separate economic industry. Over the period of time, see, survival is basically, need of survival is, बोलते हैं ना, mother of invention, क्या बोलते हैं हम उसको, need, necessity, हाँ, mother of invention. तो बेसिकली ये वहां पे मेजर डिजास्टर है ना, अर्थक्वेक प्रोन कंट्री है, छोटा सा आइलैंड्स है, so they need to survive. So this is how they have come up with new technologies there. Fine. So earthquake. Thereafter, third topic is Great Nicobar Development Project, Island Development Project. दिस इज ऑल्सो पेंडिंग क्वेश्चन, 2-3 साल से न्यूज में है, कोविड के टाइम पे भी न्यूज में था. Great Nicobar Development Project. I will give you context. Recently, the central government gave clearance for clearing the forest, a certain part of this project in Great Nicobar Island. Okay, so that's why it was in news. In past, it was in news because it denotified certain tribal area because of construction of this project. It denotified forest area, okay, and called it as a special government initiative. होता है ना, strategic infrastructure, strategic initiative. तो clearance की जरूरत ही नहीं है. We know Forest Conservation Act में certain exceptions है, and if the project is strategic project, the EIA is not stringent. Environment impact assessment and all, certain clearances are not required for felling of trees and all these things. So such kind of things are happening. It involves 4 components. This project has 4 components. Great Nicobar Island, you know, right? Nicobar में islands के major groups क्या है? Great Nicobar, bigger one. Just northwest of it there is Little Andaman. Then north of them Car Andaman. Car Nicobar. मैं अंडमान क्यों बोल रहा हूँ? Little Nicobar, and north of that there is Car Nicobar. Small islands are there. Car Nicobar. ठीक है, तो ऐसे उसका डिवीजन है, geographical features. So and above that you can see 10 degree pass. ठीक है, 10 degree जो latitude जो जाता है channel. All right, 4 components. What are these? 1, international transshipment port. Near Galathea Bay. Galathea Bay जो है, it is very important national park also. It is part of Great Nicobar Biosphere Reserve. Galathea Bay. It is a national park also, and it is located in southeast of Great Nicobar. Southwest. अगर ऐसे हम ड्रॉ करते हैं इसको, यहां पर लोकेटेड है गलाथिया बे, इस साइड साउथ वेस्ट साइड में गलाथिया बे. So there we are going to have this international transshipment port, first part. Second, there will be international airport. Third, large solar power plant. Fourth, residential township. I don't know कौन रहने जा रहा है वहां पर, but there will be big township coming up as a part of this project. So these are the 4. Okay, let's try to understand significance first. Positive. And I will divide it into two parts. Economic significance. आंसर में भी ऐसे ही लिखना है. Strategic significance. Economic significance, strategic significance. What is economic significance? You can talk about this port, location of port on maritime trade route in Indian Ocean, right? So that will help then for it, let's say, economic growth and development of local people. It will boost tourism, right? Strategic. Location near Strait of Malacca, choke point, South China Sea, Strait of Malacca. Second, we have, we can say, theater command there, where all three forces are situated. So infrastructure is good thing for mobility of, let's say, armed forces, resources, ammunition. इसके लिए अच्छा होगा. Then increasing presence of China in Indian Ocean. We need to counter it. Increasing presence of China in Indian Ocean. We need to counter it. So for that purpose, we need to have adequate infrastructure on our own islands. So airport, कल को हम सिविल एयरपोर्ट, मिलिट्री एयरपोर्ट में एक दिन में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं. जैसे चाइना बोलता है कि ये रिसर्च वेसल है. श्रीलंका के, वो तो मतलब हर साल वो रिसर्च वेसल श्रीलंका के यहाँ पे आता है. ठीक है, पता नहीं क्या डेटा लेके जाता है श्रीलंका से. ठीक है. सो दिस इज हाउ वी शुड अंडरस्टैंड कि हमारा स्ट्रैटेजिक लोकेशन बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है वहां पर. एंड लेट्स से सिक्योरिटी एंगल से वो बताना है यहाँ पर. ठीक है. वी हैव ट्राई सर्विस थिएटर कमांड देयर, ट्राई सर्विस कमांड है. ऑल राइट. सिग्निफिकेंस तो ठीक है, बट GS3 से अगर क्वेश्चन आता है, इफ देयर इज क्वेश्चन इन GS3 एनवायरमेंट, so we should give less weightage to this significance part, more weightage to criticism, right? More weightage to criticism. So impact, negative impact, negative implications. पहला पॉइंट एनवायरमेंट लिखना है. इकोलॉजी. So loss of diversity, loss of biodiversity, deforestation, habitat loss. There are endemic species in that region. ठीक है, endemic species है वहां पर बहुत सारे, like Nicobar, what you can say, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, एक बर्ड है जो उड़ता नहीं है. ठीक है, not exactly remembering the name. ठीक है, but there are many endemic species there. It is a biosphere reserve. There are 2 national parks. Galathea Bay National Park is there. ठीक है, और एक national park है वहां पर. So because of this project, it is going to result into ecological, we can say, degradation, environmental degradation there. Second, impact on local tribal people, indigenous tribal people. Nicobaris are living there, tribal people. So forest is their home basically. They are dependent on that for, let's say, resources, livelihood and all these things. So it is going to be lost, and that will create some kind of trauma and all these things for these people. Then indigenous peoples, ठीक है. Seismic vulnerability is also there, earthquake prone, and further burden of infrastructure. Again, it is going to be vulnerable. Whatever the infrastructure we are making, it is going to be vulnerable for earthquake. Then lack of adequate consultation, especially with local people. यूनियन टेरिटरी है तो सब दिल्ली से डिसीजन हो रहा है. बहुत अच्छी एक वेब सीरीज आई थी, क्या था वो वेब सीरीज का नाम? अंडमान निकोबार आइलैंड के ऊपर रिसेंटली. The thing that happened during COVID, lockdown and all, similar kind of scenario was there. वहां पे लॉकडाउन कर दिया था, ऐसा कुछ तो दिखाया है उन्होंने, कोई डिसीज स्प्रेड हो रहा है वगैरह वगैरह. आई एम नॉट एग्जैक्टली रिमेम्बर, बट काफी अच्छा उन्होंने वहां का सब दिखाया है, लोकल पीपल का, हाउ दे आर बेसिकली कंजर्विंग देयर रिसोर्सेस. They do not want the outsider people to disturb their habitat, disturb. वैसे देखा जाए तो they are not let's say threat to outsider people, but whatever the let's say projects that are coming there, they are hampering their. उसमें क्या दिखाया है कि एक कंपनी आती है, कोई प्रोजेक्ट बनाती है और वहां के वाटर रिसोर्सेस में, ड्रिंकिंग वाटर रिसोर्स में वो केमिकल डालती है, एक्सीडेंटली वो केमिकल जाता है. And because of that, the people start getting some kind of disease by drinking that water. But only that particular local tribe knows how to treat that, how to protect themselves from that. ऐसा दिखाया है उसमें. So this is how basically the outsiders and the locals, the conflict and the real story. It's not the real story, of course, but we can say that it is let's say common observation. So lack of adequate consultation with the local people. So then of course the legal procedure is bypassed, stringent EIA is not there and all these things. ठीक है, तो वो सारी चीजें हम बोल सकते हैं. Now regarding way forward, जब हम ये सारी चीजें बोलते हैं नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट, तो immediately we should mention way forward. See, when strategic aspect comes into the picture, national security is prioritized. We cannot negate it. यहाँ पे आता है स्टैंड लेने की बात. ठीक है, let's say in interview you are asked whether that project should be implemented or not. So we have to say yes, but minimal impact, stringent EIA, continuous monitoring and evaluation of the impact of that project. This should be the words. ठीक है, okay. Second thing, do we have any alternatives? Alternative solutions? Okay, so if the target is to boost the tourism, why don't we have the nature-based tourism? Okay, we need to take some let's say inputs from our own Lakshadweep और let's say Maldives. तो वहां पर भी तो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाया जा रहा है. हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर गए थे ना अभी लक्षद्वीप. ठीक है, तो वी हैव टू कीप लेट्स से एक्सप्लोरिंग अल्टरनेटिव नेचर बेस्ड सॉल्यूशंस टू प्रमोट द इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ एंड डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द रीजन. स्ट्रेटेजिक एस्पेक्ट इज वन थिंग, बट टू प्रमोट द इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ वी कैन हैव अल्टरनेटिव सॉल्यूशंस. We can have alternative solutions. वो हमें ढूंढना है, alternative development approaches होने चाहिए. Okay, then transparency in implementation of this project. Transparency and accountability. ये सारी चीजें आप बताइए way forward में. And that will be better approach instead of straight away negating it. Stringent EIA, ठीक है, environment impact assessment. So as the government is basically bypassing that process, that should not happen actually. ठीक है, EIA process should be there, facts should be in front of people, and then decision should be taken. तो इसमें transparency होता है, and on the basis of those facts, government can be held accountable. If there is severe loss, let's say to the species, the environment, and to the local tribal people, what has been our policy towards Andaman and Nicobar and the people living there? Tribal people, non-intervention. The indigenous tribal people, our policy is नॉन इंटरवेंशन, उनके लाइफ में हम इंटरवीन नहीं करते हैं. द आउटसाइडर्स आर नॉट अलाउड टू एंटर इनटू देयर होम्स या उनका हैबिटेट में. If this has been the policy for 75 years, then suddenly we are basically destroying their homes itself. And we are saying that we are doing in the name of their benefit. तो ऐसे तो मुश्किल है. ठीक है. Building fires in India due to extreme heat, fire incidents, urban settings due to extreme heat. So you can give the context of Delhi, incidents in Delhi, Gujarat, several incidents of बेसिकली कॉम्प्रेसर जो है एसी का फट जाना, व्हाट यू कैन से शॉर्ट सर्किट होना, स्पार्क होना. अपने सेंटर के बाजू में आग लगी थी, पता है, करोल बाग में, लुकमान के. हाँ, एकदम एक बिल्डिंग छोड़ के इतनी बड़ी आग लगी थी कि लग रहा था कि सारा ही. सो वी आर वरीड एट दैट टाइम लॉट. What happened in Chandni Chowk few days back? 80 shops लगातार. वहां तो कपड़े ही बिकते हैं, तो कपड़े जो होता है तो क्लोथ, टेक्सटाइल, इट इज फ्यूल. ठीक है, तो जल जाएगा सारा. So it will burn out everything. So yes, fire incidents in urban settings are happening due to extreme heat. The major reason is, of course, very high power demand for cooling purpose due to extreme heat. Now, because of this demand, there is excess pressure on electrical equipments. ठीक है, excess pressure or load, the right word is load, on electrical equipments like air conditioners, refrigerators, and all these things, transformers, right. तो इसकी वजह से क्या हो रहा है? एंड द अदर रीजन इज दैट वी डोंट हैव, वी कैन से, फायर सेफ्टी नॉर्म्स आर नॉट फॉलोड. That means even if there is, let's say, spark, or we can say that short circuit, there should be this fire extinguisher, no, which can easily extinguish the small fire. But we don't follow these fire safety norms. We don't have exits, fire exits, right? And because of that, the small incident turns into, once it turns into big, then the problem comes with a response. ठीक है, problem of response. Because in urban settings, the buildings are very close to each other, narrow roads are there, and these fire extinguishers, they come in right time, okay, but they don't have space to go near that building place. तो फिर वहां से वो पाइप लेके एक भागता है, ऊपर जाता है, वो सीढ़ी लगाता है, उसी में आधा एक घंटा चला जाता है. अब सोचिए, राइट. सो रिस्पॉन्स, ये जो है delay in response by fire extinguishing due to urban settings ये प्रॉब्लमेटिक है। तो ऐसे कुछ आप रीजन लिख सकते हैं। बेसिकली दीज रीजंस आर कॉमन ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ फायर्स। ड्यूरिंग कोविड टाइम वी हैड हॉस्पिटल फायर्स, hospital fire incidents, Gujarat, Delhi, Maharashtra. So there what had happened, oxygen cylinders were there, ICU accidents हुए थे ना, बच्चे मर गए थे कितने सारे, है ना। तो oxygen is fuel for fire, and of course in ICU there will be oxygen cylinders. Any short circuit will result into big fire, right? So urban fires they have, हमने एक ईडी लिया था उस टाइम पे, तो द अर्बन फायर्स दे आर वेरी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम अदर टाइप्स ऑफ फायर्स, ठीक है। द रीजंस, ठीक है। सो व्हाट आई वाज गोइंग टू टेल हियर, ऑफ कोर्स द इम्पैक्ट इज बेसिकली सारे फायर्स का इम्पैक्ट सेम होता है, लॉस ऑफ लाइफ, लॉस ऑफ property, livelihood, ये तो कॉमन है सब में, राइट। द इकोनॉमिक इम्पैक्ट, देन अदर इम्पैक्ट्स हेल्थ पे, सो वी कैन से देयर कैन बी बर्न्स, severe burns, it can impact the health, or we can say that psychological effect, stress, financial stress, financial चीजों की वजह से psychological stress हो सकता है, trauma हो सकता है, तो ये impact में लिख सकते हैं। Fine. So we know about the current provisions regarding fire safety in India. So we have fire services, fire brigade is there, fire extinguishers, they will come. Then there are fire safety norms. So we have this National Building Code of 2016 that talks about what fire safety norms should be in place while building the building. Construction, है ना, जैसे वो centralized smoke detectors होता है, and centralized we can say fire extinguisher होता है, पाइपलाइन होता है बड़े बिल्डिंग्स में। देन देयर इज सेपरेट वी कैन से फायर एग्जिट इन ऑल द लार्ज सेटिंग्स, बिल्डिंग में फायर एग्जिट होता है अलग से। सो देन वो जो इंसिडेंट हुआ उसके बाद इमीडिएटली सॉरी करोल बाग वाला लास्ट ईयर का, करोल बाग नहीं मुखर्जी नगर वाला लास्ट ईयर का इंसिडेंट याद है, कोचिंग वाला, बच्चे कूद रहे थे ऊपर से। द स्टूडेंट्स वर बेसिकली in classroom, there was a fire and students actually were jumping out of window from second floor or something, coaching center. Immediately the MCD took some decisions. They actually closed down many of the coaching centers. They were not following the safety norms. Immediately thereafter we had all these things put in place. It was there, ऐसा नहीं कि नहीं था, but it was not rightly placed. You know, it should be placed rightly. दो में डिस्टेंस कितना होना चाहिए, कहाँ पे होना चाहिए। एक बिल्डिंग में सिर्फ एक पाउडर वाला नहीं चाहिए, पाउडर बड़ा भी आता है एक फायर एक्सटिंग्विशर, वो भी रखा हुआ है ऊपर सेकंड फ्लोर पे। ओके, सो द नॉर्म्स दैट आर देयर दे नीड्स टू बी फॉलोड, फायर सेफ्टी नॉर्म्स, एंड इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. But we are not basically following that. Then the National Disaster Management Authority guidelines are there, NDMA guidelines for urban fires, fire safety. Separate guidelines है हमारे इस fire safety के लिए. But the issue is again we can say that implementation, right? Implementation issue है. Then we can talk about is lack of monitoring. जब ये कोचिंग क्लास बंद हो रहे थे ना, तो उसके साथ साथ लाइब्रेरी भी बंद हो रहे थे, स्टडी रूम्स। कैन यू इमेजिन ओल्ड राजेंद्र नगर में स्टडी रूम बंद हो गया तो क्या होगा? Thousands of students are studying in these libraries. They are located where? Basement. The least fire safety. ठीक है, बाहर आने का दरवाजा गलती से बंद हो गया, समझो फायर हो गया। कैन यू इमेजिन? एंड इट्स completely wood. It's completely wood. डरना मत, आप पढ़ रहे हो तो पढ़ो, ऐसा नहीं होता है, ठीक है. बट आई एम टेलिंग यू, इफ द एग्जिट इज क्लोज्ड, so this can be, this can happen, but the MCD did not close all the library, it still runs. कैसे? ऑफिसर आता है, एक 500 का नोट दे दिया, चला जाता है, ठीक है. जब तक मामला ठंडा हो जाता है फिर सब रूटीन हो जाता है. दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंस इन इंडिया. जैसे सर बोलते हैं ना कि फायर फाइटिंग अप्रोच, तो लिटरल वे में फायर फाइटिंग अप्रोच होता है, राइट. सो इट्स, दिस इज हाउ इट इज गोइंग. एंड देन लैक ऑफ वल्नरेबिलिटी एनालिसिस. So we need to identify vulnerable areas. The Chandni Chowk या Chandni Chowk area is vulnerable. No, it is very congested, and all these, let's say, old settings are there, old buildings, and मुझे तो लगता है कि वो वायर के वजन से ही कभी कभी पिलर्स गिर जाएंगे, इतने वायर्स होते वो पिलर पे दिल्ली में, है ना. And it is all blame should go to that internet वाला companies. उनकी वायर्स होती है ना, वो पावर लाइन तो एक ही होती है ना, अलग अलग इंटरनेट की कंपनी उस पर टांग दिए हुए रहता है, ठीक है. सो देन अदर थिंग्स आर बेसिकली रिलेटेड टू व्हाट यू कैन से द इश्यूज रिलेटेड टू डिफरेंट सेटिंग्स. सेम अगेन आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट, लेट्स से देयर इज अ स्लम एरिया. ओके, सो देयर इज नो फायर सेफ्टी एट ऑल इन द स्लम्स. एक बार अगर आग लग गई ना तो वो सारा ही जल जाता है, ऐसा होता है. ओके, देन द इंडस्ट्रियल एरिया. ओके, लेट्स से फायर क्रैकर इंडस्ट्री में फायर लगना इज लाइक की कॉमन थिंग. वंस लेट्स से हम हर 2 महीने बाद आप देखते हो न्यूज में फायर क्रैकर्स में आग लग गई, इतने लोग मर गए. So basically fire safety is not only limited to urban civilian area, it's industries also. उनका अलग अलग norm है. There is norm for industries also. When I was working in my company, so there was one department called as quality department, quality check, ठीक है. तो basically it used to do mock drills, fire safety. ठीक है, अगर साइड पे फायर हो गया तो क्या करोगे आप, तो उसको मॉक ड्रिल्स होता था हमारा बहुत सारा. तो सारे डिपार्टमेंट के लोग इनको बुरा बोलते थे, क्यों परेशान कर रहे हो, कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. बट दे आर कंसर्न अबाउट अस, राइट, दे आर कंसर्न अबाउट अस, बट वी आर एक्चुअली, दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंस. देन yes, lack of proper electric insulation. You need to understand, even common people need to understand that every 5 years we need to change the wiring of the building, every 5 years. And we are not changing the, let's say, wires unless and until there is spark or something incident as that. हर बिल्डिंग में ये एक्चुअली नॉर्म है, दिस इज द नॉर्म, but we are not following. Why? Because there will be wear and tear. The wire will be exposed, live wire will be exposed, and there is always chance of spark plug. हमारे घर पे भी हमने ये करना चाहिए basically. So this is not happening. These are the issues, and same you should mention in the way forward, that strictly following all these fire safety norms, emergency response infrastructure, urban planning, ठीक है. And some of the way forward is given for extreme heat. अब ये extreme heat से related है ना, incidents happening because of extreme heats. तो extreme heat को deal करना है हमें, mitigate. How? So building design, architecture. So green roofs, concept of green roofs. Very popular nowadays. Okay, then we can say that extreme heat के लिए बाकी भी चीजें उन्होंने मेंशन किया हुआ है, ठीक है. स्मार्ट टेक्नोलॉजीज आर देयर, अर्ली वार्निंग सिस्टम इज देयर, पब्लिक एजुकेशन एंड एंगेजमेंट, अवेयरनेस कैंपेन एंड ऑल दिस थिंग्स. सेम थिंग है डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट में. मैं बहुत बार स्टूडेंट को पढ़ाते हुए बताता हूं कि मोस्ट ऑफ द डिजास्टर्स हैव सेम काइंड ऑफ way forward. And the last topic is small topic है, इसमें ज्यादा कुछ नहीं है, आया तो 10 मार्क क्वेश्चन आएगा, ठीक है, if there is question. So question, next topic is related to impact of climate change on mental health. Actually, there was very good article in the Hindu newspaper on this topic, and that idea got stuck in my mind. They can ask such kind of question. Climate change से related कुछ भी पूछ रहा है. In GS1 last year, climate change and its impact on food security of tropical countries. Expected नहीं था ये. क्यों पूछ रहे ज्योग्राफी में ऐसा है, फूड सिक्योरिटी इन ट्रॉपिकल कंट्रीज, ऐसा नहीं कि इंडिया सिर्फ, सारे ट्रॉपिकल कंट्रीज. सो मेंटल हेल्थ वी कैन एक्सपेक्ट सच क्वेश्चन इन GS3 ओवरलैपिंग साइंस एंड टेक एनवायरमेंट और इवन एथिक्स पेपर और समथिंग लाइक दैट. ठीक है, क्लाइमेट चेंज ऑन मेंटल हेल्थ हो रहा है क्या? एवरीवन नोज अबाउट क्लाइमेट चेंज, तो उसमें नहीं जाता है, इम्पैक्ट पे बात करते हैं, है ना. Climate change is basically the change in the established climatic attributes of a particular region over the long period of time. Climate is basically average of climatic elements, weather elements over the long period of time. But this is changing. That is climate change. Now, mental health. सो मेंटल हेल्थ और साइकोलॉजिकल हेल्थ, आपकी तरफ से मुझे एग्जांपल बताइए कि कैसे इंपैक्ट हो रहा है मेंटल हेल्थ पे. मैं मेरी तरफ से एग्जांपल दूंगा. लेट्स से you come across a news all let's say every day almost in the Hindu newspaper related to climate change. Front page हो या world page हो, foreign page, something related to climate change is happening. Sea level rise is happening. Let's say extreme flooding is happening. So many people are dying because of hunger, because of this thing, and everything is because of climate change. There is loss of biodiversity. Coral reefs are dying, and such kind of negative news you are reading on daily basis. Now you are well aware UPSC aspirant. Think about common human citizen. ठीक है, उसको तो इतना पता नहीं है ना क्लाइमेट चेंज, उसको दिखता है डेथ हो रहा है, डिजास्टर आ रहा है, फ्लड आ रहा है. सो दैट पर्सन इज कंटिन्यूअसली विटनेसिंग नेगेटिव न्यूज एंड दैट विल अफेक्ट द साइकोलॉजी ऑफ दैट पर्सन. ओके, साइकोलॉजी. दूसरा एक है हमारा, तीसरा एक है हमारे कुछ क्या बोल सकते हैं, देयर इज न्यू टर्म, डू यू नो अबाउट दिस? वो एक टर्म है, बहुत ही यूनिक टर्म हमने ऐड किया हुआ है इसमें, बताता हूं मैं. सोलास्टैल्जिया. Solastalgia is the mental discomfort that we feel, psychological discomfort we feel because of environmental degradation. ये यूज प्रीलिम्स में भी ये टर्म प्रीलिम्स में भी आ सकता है. दिस कैन बी आस्क्ड इन, वी कैन यूज दिस इन एस्से पेपर. एस्से में यूज करिए इसको, टर्म ऐसे कुछ यूनिक टर्म, खुश हो जाएगा एग्जामिनर. ठीक है, सोलास्टैल्जिया. Now people are feeling this solastalgia. Okay, सब खराब हो रहा है. हम क्या, we ourselves relate what used to happen 20 years back in our childhood and what we are having let's say now. The same place, let's say our village. The same place we can imagine 20 years back, and now if we visit our village, it's completely changed. And somehow it disturbs us. I will give you my examples. Same example. My village is having river, okay, And in childhood, we used to go there, and with cousins, we used to swim there. And a lot of masti we did actually. ठीक है, इतना क्लीन फ्रेश पानी था वो रिवर का, इतना ट्रांसपेरेंट, एकदम अच्छा लगता था, एकदम मस्त अच्छा लगता था. And now if visit, actually last year only we visited, and I know what is the situation there. The water is not even used for washing the clothes. Leave aside the drinking purpose and the aesthetics. It is greenish, it is brownish, and it is having all the agricultural residue, the fertilizers we are using, and the human, let's say, excreta, and all this is coming from the upstream villages and all. There is no management and all these things, and this is the result. And no one taking responsibility basically. जो होता रहा है होता जाएगा, continue, and now result is after 20 years the change, drastic change. Other example, recent example I will give. Last 1 month we witnessed severe heat. It was unbearable. And we could not go outside the room also without AC, air conditioner, here in Delhi. I am telling you, I am living here since last 7 to 8 years. 2016 से मैं रह रहा हूँ. My room bill or home bill, overall electricity bill, was never more than 4,000 rupees. Extreme heat, extreme cold, not more than 4,000. Yesterday I got the notification, 15,000 rupees bill. 15,000 rupees. Okay. Now, from that point, I am feeling stress. That is for sure. And what is there? Only 2 ACs. Okay, sometimes 2 ACs on only 1 AC is running, but it is running 24/7. Okay, my wife is there, of course, and my dog is there. The dog is adopted to AC. And the doctor says that you cannot keep that dog outside the AC room. This is the situation. We can live outside the AC room, but the dog cannot. Stress, I am telling you, climate change. And this is true, this is real. You may be facing such kind of things. Second example is during that, let's say, smog situation in Delhi. है ना? Everyone becomes anxious, anxiety. The news channels get aggressive. PM levels crossed 500. Visibility dropped down to this level. People are dying. And the quality of air, ये सब चीजें continuous news चलता है. We are also teaching in the classroom, same thing. Students are also listening, same thing. They are inhaling the same air. Same thing हो रहा है. So somehow there is higher level. I have seen many students becoming a victim of this anxiety during that time. They leave, they go home. 1 महीना वो घर जाते हैं उस टाइम पे. This is the situation. Okay, and because of that anxiety, they somehow they fall ill. ठीक है. So mental health affects their physical health. ठीक है. So it is going to affect the physical health also. So actually I wanted to discuss this with certain examples and how we can relate. अब ये तो हम क्या कर रहे हैं, ये तो ऊपर ऊपर का, हम तो कंफर्ट में हैं. What about the victims of, let's say, natural hazards or disasters that are happening because of climate change? You can imagine victims. Let's talk about climate refugees. Use these terms. Climate refugees. Because of, let's say, extreme weather events, they are leaving their hometowns or, let's say, home places, their habitats. जहाँ पे वो सालों से रहते हैं, ancestors रहते हैं. They are leaving that place. say extreme drought is happening, the people are leaving the villages, they are selling their land, they are leaving the villages, they are going to urban areas, they don't have water. What is it? Climate change का impact है, ठीक है. And you can imagine now the psychological impact, trauma, ठीक है, because of living in the changed social setting, financial stress continuously, breakage of social bond. देखो ह्यूमन इज अ सोशल एनिमल. कैन यू इमेजिन आपका सब सोशल रिलेशंस खत्म हो गया, यू विल लिव इन एंजाइटी, आपको बहुत ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है ना. दिस इज द मेंटल हेल्थ इंपैक्ट. Now you may be thinking कि सर हमने इतना तो सोचा ही नहीं था, ऐसा भी होता है कुछ. ठीक है, और यूपीसी जो है ना ऐसा ही क्वेश्चन पूछता है जो हम सोचा ही नहीं था. एक क्वेश्चन ऐसा होता है हर पेपर में कि ये क्या पूछ लिया, तो पहले से ही ब्रेनस्टॉर्म करके रखना है हमें इन सबको, इन चीजों को. ओके, सो व्हाट वी कैन डू, वी कैन डील विथ इट. देयर इज नो एस्केप, नो. How we can deal with it? Mental health. So we need to manage our mental health. So daily exercise, daily walk we should do. We should have certain we can say we should talk to people. ठीक है, ऐसे हम बोल सकते हैं कि विजिटिंग ग्रीन पार्क्स, ठीक है, उससे बेनिफिट्स होता है, फिजिकल एक्टिविटीज से होता है. देन कम्युनिटी रेजिलेंस, सोशल सपोर्ट जिसको मैं बोल रहा था, सोशल सपोर्ट. वैसे सोशल ग्रुप्स भी होता है, एक दूसरे से बात करके शेयर करके चीजें थोड़ी सी बोल सकते हैं इंप्रूव हो सकती है. Then healthy lifestyle choices is also important. Not eating junk food, so daily having fruits, juices and nutritional food, ये सब चीजें करनी है. It now physical health, keeping good physical health has impact on mental health. दोनों linked है ना, हर डॉक्टर यही बोलता है ना. ठीक है, so we have to maintain our physical health so that our mental health will be in good. Okay, climate change को डील करने के लिए पूरा दुनिया जूझ रहा है. They are meeting every year, UNFCCC, COP, right? Everyone is working in that. But yes, as a part of at individual level also we should have sustainable lifestyle practices, life mission, है ना. लाइफस्टाइल जो है हाँ, लाइफस्टाइल फॉर एनवायरमेंट, लाइफ मिशन. सो एट इंडिविजुअल लेवल वी कैन कॉन्ट्रीब्यूट इन सेवरल वेज. वही चीज आप वहां पे मेंशन कर सकते हैं. समहाउ दैट विल प्रोवाइड यू रिलीफ इन योर माइंड. आई एम डूइंग समथिंग फॉर दिस प्रॉब्लम. I will tell you my thing. There is weekly sabji market. I will carry my own textile bag, jute bag, and I will ask that vendor, नहीं plastic में देना ही नहीं है. He will not listen. ठीक है, he will not listen. He will pack in plastic, and each vegetable they are separately packing in separate plastics. This is the habit here. Like I am buying 10-15 sabjis and all these things, so I am carrying that single-use plastic, 10 to 15 single-use plastic in my home. This happens. Can you imagine? Every person is taking out all those plastics. Single-use. कहाँ जा रहा है वो? Garbage bank में जा रहा है. And you can understand the solid waste management here. So at individual level, at small scale itself, हमने ये छोटा छोटा करना चाहिए कुछ ना कुछ. And that gives a feeling कि मैं कुछ कर रहा हूं. ठीक है, कुछ कर रहा हूं तो देखा जाएगा, अच्छा होगा कुछ ना कुछ. Okay, so what you are doing? on your behalf? Sustainable practice.
Same plastic bag we
Hmm.
won't buy.
Right.
Waste segregation and
वेरी गुड.
dry waste.
ड्राई वेस्ट वो तो होना चाहिए. वो कई सारे म्यूनसिपैलिटीज ने कंपलसरी किया है, जैसे पुणे में, महाराष्ट्र में. यहाँ पर बिल्कुल ही नहीं है कल्चर. देन व्हाट एल्स? हाँ, यस, वेरी गुड. हाँ, लंच बॉक्सेस. Right. And that is healthy also. Right. The thermocol plate, and you should not use that. Right. What about you? Right. Very good. Okay. So this is actually the positive thing. No, we are reading many negative things. Right. So what we are doing for let's say this particular problem, this issue, that will provide some positive energy, positive vibes, and that will somehow counterbalance that mental health issue. ठीक है. Otherwise आप देख रहे यूरोप में छोटे छोटे बच्चे जो सोशल मीडिया पे या न्यूज ये देख रहे हैं, दे आर गेटिंग इम्पैक्टेड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस न्यूज. ओके. ज्यादा कॉन्शियसनेस वहां है. हमारे तो रोजी रोटी के चक्कर में लोग इतने परेशान हैं. राइट. तो कॉन्शियसनेस इज मोर देयर इन डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज, बट दे आर द कल्प्रिट. Their ancestors are culprit. They are not. Rather, they are going to be victim with us. ठीक है. So, any question related to these topics? So, largely I will be covering environment section, geography, internal security, disaster management part. There will be other faculties for other subjects. We will have such sessions with those topics. ठीक है. And try to follow this on a continuation basis. I told you how to utilize EDs. ठीक है. How to make use of that study material. हाँ, write that test also. You don't worry about the evaluation. Rather than think कि आपकी तरफ से आपने लिख दिया है. आपकी प्रैक्टिस होना जरूरी है. You need to practice it. Fine? So, okay. Let us stop then. Okay. Okay.